I'm sure it's going well for this duo so far. It's looking like they are feeling quite free right now. We'll see how their loadout is comparing to that, though. Good on materials. 4 elims already for Noah. We've seen how dominant this player can be mechanically. And he's showing it, Jacob.
Really not taking any of these opportunities lightly. Another duo. Kind of spacing, moving in above. He's ready to take that challenge at a moment's notice. Zandyrege and Robon, though. 219 points. Deep in towards zone now. Forced to use the legendary banana a little bit earlier than some would have hoped. But it's going to allow them to cover so much distance so quickly and get to zone with more time than not, so they can think about what is next. And I think along the way, they're going to have to figure out where they're going to get their heals from as well, because even though the legendary bananas pop now, eventually those effects will subside, and they're going to have a lot of HP missing.
They were looking like they didn't have too much to worry about, but now it looks like they're right back into the action, but it's not a position they're not familiar with. Currently, with the... I mean, I was going to say high ground, but to be fair, they just have the kind of dominant position in terms of this box fight. Even picking up a quick knockdown, putting themselves in the positional advantage as well. Now the 2 versus 1. Gonna let his duo partner heal up a little bit. Flowberry popped. As now they have to decide, do they chase the solo? Do they just pick up that quick elimination and keep on going? They don't really need to risk anything. Already having 5 eliminations, more than enough loot to work with. But who knows, maybe they want those points.
Yeah, I do believe they picked up the Brawler's Battleground Medallion, which gives them a little bit more of a damage boost from scoped weapons. So depending on what their inventory looks like, if they could have hit a mod bench, that definitely give them a little bit more to work with, especially in those tight situations where it does come down just a few ticks of HP. As we jump and see kind of Zandyrege and Robon and how they got one of those eliminations. The perfect cone over the launch pad to not let his opponent escape, thinking 2-3 steps ahead of that fight.
Now still making their way onto the zone. They've been inside the zone for a significant amount of time, though. They did come out on top with the elims, but they have made quite a journey to get back into the zone. They have some bananas, but what else do they have to recuperate that HP that they need? Campfire has already been used, as now Zandyrege has been forced to pop a medkit. They'll make it in, but it's going to take a while.
Yeah, and the longer they stay here in the zone, which we've already seen happen once today, the Storm Sickness, if it does come down to a heal off, it's going to be a thing to note with Zandyrege and Robon. How much damage they actually are taking, even though it is getting healed up in some cases with the legendary banana or the med kit. It's still something that's going to be looming in the back of their mind. So, hey, we might look at them when it comes down to the end game, and they might be forced to get aggressive instead of playing for heal off.
Looking more on the north side of the map here. Turtl3regele once again inside of the bush, trying to just kind of wait it out. They have the damage, they have the loot, the materials. Now it's all up to the time and how these zones end up pulling. You can even see a duo to the west of them getting closer and closer, but they're chill.
Misha from one bush to the next. You see, kind of taking their time on some of these rotations, trying to get information of where players, they know somebody is rotating, possibly parallel or right behind them. They know if they continue to move towards Loot Island, even though they might not have a lot of mobility or Flowberry in their inventory, those rifts do tend to come in handy. Or if you get on top of Loot Island to use the launch pad, it's definitely going to allow you to cover distance quick if you do get one of those max pools.
It is 5th zone, so a lot of duos have already kind of done what they needed to in the early game. In terms of consistency, there's only one duo that's placed top 10 in every game today. CZB and Nathan. We'll see if they can hold on to that title for the rest of the day. As Nova and Rabid, being only 60 above, are going to be put with a little bit of pressure on their shoulders here to find something. The shots aren't going to be connected, but they don't have too much to worry about yet.
Yep. And kind of look at the history of Noah and Rabid on the day. 5th place, 2 elims. One of the best games they've had so far. And they're getting deep into some of these games, 23 minutes, but they get an 18th and a 15th, so they have to be able to push past that placement line and really start to pick up a lot of these placements for the amount of time they're actually spending in these games. And that's one of the worst things that can happen to a competitor, spending 20, 23 minutes in a game and really not getting any points for it. So even though you do have 10 games to use overall, you're not gonna have access to all 10 games because of these games that are happening and how downward trend they are trending. So we're gonna need some big moments here. Roughly 30 or so minutes left in these lobbies, and that's enough time to kind of finish this game up and have one more pop-off game.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally like you said. You think getting eliminated right off spawn is bad, but the worst thing that can happen is making it to the end game and getting eliminated right before those moving zones start. You haven't got any placement. You use so much time, which is why you have to make sure that you have enough loot to kind of play out the end game, and if you don't, you might have to take a risk for that impact. 2 elims for Lucia. Misha now. How did they get them, though? We can take a quick look here.
That's a good elim right there. Still pressure coming in from above, and Lucia just doesn't even look panicked at all in that moment. He looks steady, full control over the game, and those are moments right there that really test you once shots are coming in from different directions while you're already engaged in a 2v2 fight.
Roban for Strokey. Under the train tracks. Last major, we saw a lot go on under here, as they don't want anything too kind of risky. They really just want to make it into zone. They know they have a duo close to them. They have a lot of players looking at them from the zone already, so if they do anything too risky, it could get dangerous, but their opponents are going to be the ones that choose to do something risky. Going down, but Raban as well gets taken out. Not even sure from where. It's for Strokey now. Left as a solo. It's all up to him, but he's just at 8 HP. As the bullets keep coming on through, he has a solo behind him. He has all the duos applying pressure from afar. Has the opponents done enough damage to stop pushing? They have not, as they continue to get into the Strokey's box.
Yeah, and Tizzix has no choice but to go forward. Nova basically cleaned up the knock body of his teammate. There was no reason going for res, and I think Hizzix read that one perfect as soon as he was in that situation. Got that first shot, first knock onto Roban. The second one was a monster shot as well onto Fastroki, and with pressure looming in from all different directions, except for Hizzix's back, he took full advantage.
Switching over to Pixie, though, and walks here. Nice position in the lavish lair right inside of the zone. You can see there's players, though, choosing to stay on top of the builds, as they do have more vision of the surroundings and not rotating in yet. It's going to open up opportunities to get a bit of the tags with the players rotating in, and then all they have to do is drop down into the zone. But it looks like one of them's even gotten a knock, and that's going to be what they wanted to continue going on in.
Team just really not peeking in for damage. Everybody here that is above the damage threshold really has no reason to risk it all. But 87 for Zandy and Romanian Mafia. They know they still got more work to do, but we've already seen them with a big win on the day, taking advantage of the zone, pulling over Loot Island. And now it looks like with Loot Island really not in the picture, they're going to have to think about how they're going to rotate through all this madness if the zone does pull far away.
24 duos still up, 46 players. Zandy shouldn't be too stressed out with 130 being in the position they are. They're close to a lot of duos, so they should have opportunities here once the zone starts pulling to take shots. I mean, especially seeing that it pulled north, they can decide, do we stay full low here and just tarp on out, or do we go up a few layers before everybody starts rotating in? As Egrim, though, is going to continue applying that pressure, being only one above. He does need some tags, needs some damage, as the opportunity's in front of him, but it's the same chance that all the other duos in the surrounding area are taking. So who's going to be the one to actually connect those shots? 35 above now. You need some more.
His teammate actually goes down. It might have possibly got sniped or just beamed by Misha and Lucia. 2v1, strength in numbers there. Make it go 0 to 100 real quick. Egrim He also is combined with a max pull, but I will say the western side virtually open if he rotates in that direction. It's the right side, it's the middle. He kind of wants to stay away from if he can.
Not having a teammate makes this just that much more difficult, and being cracked as well makes it even worse. 63 HP now, forced to pop minis, but your opponents know you were cracked. They're going to get right into the box. Egrim has to hit 2 incredible shots to come out of this, but is going to be unable to. Lucia now up to 5 eliminations from that one, if I'm not mistaken. As he continues to run on through, it's actually 4, but that's still more than enough.
Yeah, and this is a good opportunity here for Lucia and Misha. Kind of put some consistency in their game. They have a 5th, a 10th, a 4th, but they also have a 49th, a 46th, a 42nd. So when they make it deep into these games, they do tend to find a ton of success. It's about, can they keep up the pace, keep themselves in contention? As when this game started, they were inside of that top 50. And the way FNCS works is there's these 2 weekly qualifiers that we will be going through. Where you finish at the end of each of those weekly qualifiers, you get series points. After both total, where you're at on the series point leaderboard decides if you go to the upper bracket in the semifinals or the lower bracket side of things. And from what we've seen in Major 1, the upper bracket is a must if you want the easiest road to the grand finals.
That's what Noah Riley, his duo partner, are looking to do here. With such a strong game, it could be enough. 238 points already, leading the pack. As now they just need to close it off. I don't think we'll see them going too much for height here. They'll most likely just be playing the lower layers around the edge of the zone, making use of that Flowberry Fizz to rotate. Nova, though, getting a huge little shot, bringing them up to 67 above. Not enough to hold on, but might be enough just to get them into the zone. Waiting once again for that mobility as now rotate continues. A lot of mats getting used, though. 33 builds left. They might need an impact quicker than they expected.
Yeah, especially with how much they're expending. They're almost forcing themselves to have to go for an impact elimination. Try to steal away somebody's loot at the perfect moment. Lucia, front side of zone, staggering themselves back, looking to see who they can catch off guard. They spot a solo by himself. Even with players flying by, they still keep the focus until the storm now gives them no choice but to move forward. And since they got themselves a great layer and built themselves so much space, it is going to be virtually safe up until here where they're forced to rotate out of it.
You can see they're going to be popping the banana, popping the Flowberry Fizz, and now going to go together to continue the rotate. It's going to be Zandy and Romanian Mafia, known as Turtle, up above still. They've been holding on to height ever since the first moving, not letting it go. As Noah and his duo partner now getting closer and closer to second height, though. Lucia back again with another 2-piece. That's 6 eliminations. Noah's going to be the one that gets taken out.
They continue to kind of hold strong. This is exactly what we want to do in these end games. Get some refreshes, get those materials, and fizz your way so that way you can save them as long as possible. As Zandy, Romanian Mafia have a little battle for the high ground. They're going to be able to solidify and hold on to it, but it came at a cost. A lot of their shields, some of their HP went to the wayside.
Looks like they're still able to hold on, though. They do have those dashes. They're taking shots at the players trying to contest them. One of them has already been knocked down as Turtle picks up another elimination. Zandy looking to continue that pressure, though, as he's trying to get these players who are second height to drop down. Just keep shooting the cones, keep shooting the top of their builds. But be careful, Cobra from the back hits one shot, dropped down to 30 HP from Storm, gets taken out.
That was a nice try by Cobra, because if he's able to take down high ground, not many players will be able to look up and try to contest him. But that's neither here nor there, because the show must go on. Lucia just trying to go ahead and destroy some of those builds ahead. All he has is legendary bananas, 2 med kits for Zandy. They have full control at the height of the map, and they even have the chain of Hades if they want together to steal away some loot, but they drop down. Forget loot. Let's create a scenario where we find eliminations, and I believe he might have the Siphon medallion.
Respect for Zandy. Had 2 medkits, but still said, I'm going right into the opponent's box. No heal off for me, as he's now forced to pop one. Is he going to split the other medkit to his duo partner and let him heal off as he goes for the aggression, or are they going to both play for the elims? As Lucia now has been left alone, but with 6 elims just to his name, he shouldn't have any trouble continuing. Issue is only 7 builds. Is going to need an impact, and it's a duo that's directly below him. He needs to find another entrance.
And best play to do that is Stagger yourself backside of zone. One legendary banana is going to pop, but it's not enough to out-heal the 10 tick, so he is going to have to get another one. Romanian Mafia front side of zone along with Zandy. It's Turtle time, and it's its chance to really make a statement. One of the newcomers to the scene. How about 2 victory royales, but a disruption comes in. Lucia trying to cause chaos. Zandy goes down. That one gets cleaned up, but the last 2 players, 1v1, they take themselves out, and Turtle wins it again!
Again, he's able to do it, Jacob. Lucia finishing it off from the low, where Turtle just staying up was all he needed to do to get the VR.
These guys have been positioning themselves perfect, and that was a much-needed win in the late portions of today's qualifiers, because I'm talking about the story. I'm talking about the show. Andy, and Turtle have faced some adversity, and they were falling down that leaderboard, even though they had a victory royale already. And this is a way to refuel that momentum and have a resurgence towards the top.
You can see the confidence from this duo as well. Even with medkits in hand, they say, I don't care. I'm still going for those eliminations back to back. 7 on Turtle, 2 on Andy, getting picked up at the end. What a way to close off this match. But that also is going to make a big change to the leaderboard. There's only 3 people that can show us it. Levin, Frankie, Mini, what do you got?